talk a little bit about how I got to Israel, and it's pretty ironic looking back that 5 years ago I made my first trip to Israel, given that over almost 3.5 years of those 5 years I've now actually lived here, and I've since made Aliyah. So given where I stand now, looking back to my first trip, seems like a really long time ago. But my first trip, I spent a year planning. I bought the ticket, I was very set, I was very excited. I actually was going to coordinate my layover, turned out really well with someone else in another country. I was so excited about that, and it was very well planned out. I packed, I sublet my apartment, everything was meticulously planned out. And I had friends who were seeing me off at my house, and they come to my house, and we were looking over my ticket, and I went online to make sure that my flight was leaving on time and everything was fine, and I realized that I had just missed my flight. I was like, how? And I screamed, and I fell down, and I cried, and I was like, I don't understand. But in coordinating with that person who was sitting out in London, somehow I messed up the time of my departure. And so I got on to, my friends very kindly picked me up off the floor, calmed me down, and told me it'll all be fine. And so we got on the phone with Virgin, we got on the phone with LL, and Virgin was great. They said, fine, we'll get you on the next flight, which was just a few hours later, surprisingly, because I was just going to London for that leg. LL said, no way. You're going to be stuck in London because it was for Pesach. You're going to be stuck it was for all the Chagim, actually, until after Pesach. So for like a month or something, I'd be stuck in London, which is not the plan. 2 months I was supposed to be in Israel, not a month of which in London. So I said, okay, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna do this. So I got on the flight, and I got to London. I actually had to leave the airport, take all my luggage, leave the airport, circle around, and go back in, and wait for the offices to open. And the guy, 6 o'clock in the morning, opens the office, goes, not a problem, get on the flight, not an issue. I get up to the line at LL, they say, no way are you getting on this flight. And I'm like, but that guy said I could. I said, no way. So oh, you're kidding me. Yeah. So then she said, they finally checked it out, and finally they let me on the flight. And this is my first experience with LL, and they start taking, not only are they inspecting my luggage, but they're training someone. So they're taking my deodorant, my tampons, they're checking out everything. And I'm like, I don't care, I'm on the flight. And I get on the flight, and I get here about 12 hours later than I originally had intended. I'm going to try and make this shorter, but somehow I land at the apartment by myself. A woman who speaks very little English shows me around, shows me how everything works, which I don't understand anything, so I don't speak any Hebrew, and leaves me to be. I wake up approximately 8 hours later, having no idea where I am. I can't find myself on the map. So I head out of the house with notebook, pen, paper, and map. And I write down phonetically the street name. I can write Hebrew, but it's better to write phonetically. I go sort of how the guy did. And many adventures. I finally get to the old city, because I do eventually figure out where I am. And I get to the old city only to be harassed at Jaffa Gate by a bunch of young hooligans. So I don't actually make it through Jaffa Gate. I have to go around the whole city trying to avoid them. I walk in, I somehow end up in the Arab part, and suddenly I'm being yelled at in Hebrew or Arabic, I don't know. And finally someone goes, it's the police. I'm like, what? And I'm going in the wrong side to the Kotel. And I come face to face with the Kotel. And I realize that this had been a pilgrimage. What I thought was just going to be a simple trip, like the one I took to Italy or the one I went to Thailand, this had been an actual pilgrimage. And I hadn't come by camel, and I hadn't come by boat. I come by airplane, but because something that I really need to do for myself and my soul, this had to be this way. So, to wrap up, I hope that your year here is very rewarding, and that whatever it is you need to get from this experience, whatever it is your soul needs, that you really do get out of this year's experience. Thank you.
אני קם בעברית בבוקר ושותה בעברית קפה, משלם בעברית